Hello everyone, welcome to Rune Reading Wednesday. My name is Gulveg. So welcome to the Amber Serpent. Today is November 8th, 2017, and it is time for another Rune Reading Wednesday. So this last week has been a little intense for some folks. We had the full moon in Taurus, and a lot of stuff is churning up, especially in the area of relationships, I've noticed. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of guidance we have going forward from today into next week. All right, so as always, we're going to set the intention that the message that we get is going to be one that's going to serve the highest good of everyone who is tuning in. So those of you who may be new to Rune Reading Wednesday, when I pull the runes, I'll pull them first and give you a moment to decide which runes it is that speak to you the most, which runes are going to attract your attention the most, or to prioritize whether or not, for example, rune number 2 seems to draw your attention the strongest, followed by rune number 1 and 3. That will help you prioritize as to which one of the energies are most strongly influencing your circumstances at this point in time. Okay, so setting the intention. Asking for guidance for the next week that will serve our highest good for all those who are tuning in. Then we blow the intention into the runes. Rune number 1. There we go. 1. 2. And rune number 3. So just take a moment. Give you a closer look. This is rune number 1. Sometimes it helps folks to see what the stone actually looks like. They're all the same type of stone. They're all bloodstone. 2. And 3. All right, so take a moment. Prioritize which ones draw your attention the most. Let's take a look. All right, rune number 1, we have Isa. Rune number 2, we have Sowilo. And rune number 3, we have Kibo. It's an X. It's kind of hard to see, and with that sheen on the stone, it's an X. Gibo. Okay, so this is very interesting because Isa, this one, which is the ice rune, has come up numerous times in our readings over the last few weeks. Over probably the last month, this one has been a predominant rune that it keeps coming up. And Isa is the rune of ice, and it typically sometimes will come up when a situation is frozen for a time being. But also, too, an aspect of Isa that I really appreciate is the aspect of momentum. So it's associated with like gravity, inertia. So it's like the opposite of momentum. However, we could almost look at it as the law of attraction to a certain extent. So instead of like the more masculine version of productivity, where it's just, get the job done, push on through, do. This is the complete opposite. It's what is like the feminine version of productivity. It is the rest, digest, being calm, meditative, maybe even taking us some time out to see what it is that we really want to put our energy towards. So in a way, it is the force that helps us to utilize our energy the most efficient, from my perspective. And so the law of attraction, for example, is a more feminine version of productivity, of manifestation. So instead of going out and getting what it is that we need, we allow to be receptive and to allow to come to us what it is that we are naturally manifesting. So, not that this one necessarily by itself would be a manifestation rune. However, when we combine it with its complete opposite, Solilo, which is the sun rune, that to me is more of an indication of taking time to allow ourselves to be very conscientious of what it is that we want to manifest, so that when it is time to take action, we know what right action to take at the right time, versus just completely just pushing on through and not really respecting our own energetic reserves. That kind of productivity oftentimes leads to burnout and oftentimes leads to energetic waste. So these two together, that's how I would interpret that. And it also indicates as well that because this rune keeps coming up over the last few weeks, that we are coming out of a cycle of this frozen type of state, where we have been asked to really slow down, and according to the runes, and to take stock and to figure out what it is that's working for us and what it is that isn't. There's been a lot of messages about karma and what it is that we're harvesting. And this is telling me here that that cycle, we're starting to see things thaw out a bit with Solilo next to Isa. However, we're not completely in the summertime yet. It's still like springtime, early springtime. And so allowing that that last vestiges of kind of that winter type of energy to thaw and to melt away organically on its own. So not necessarily like jumping into things quite too soon. However, realizing that things are starting to soften a bit, and that anything that's been uncomfortable because maybe we've been feeling a little stuck is going to start to loosen up and open up a little bit. And then that brings us to our third rune, which is Gibo. And this is the rune of equal exchange. So I think that that's very interesting in comparison to what it is that we were talking about as far as like the different types of energy that is used to manifest and to be quote unquote productive. Where you have the more feminine, which is kind of the law of attraction, the more receptive kind of state of manifesting, versus the more masculine version, which is kind of like the going out and getting things and the hunt and going rah. So this to me would be very much that indication of, again, the message of being very aware of where our energy is coming from and where our energy is best well spent, and to being really aware right now with the relationships that we are fostering. So this last full moon in Taurus has been big time about relationships, which is very interesting that this is coming up this week. So some people's relationships are ending. Some people's relationships are like completely opening up and changing and transforming. So and it's because things are coming up from the winter time, right? And being allowed to come up to the top of the soil, so to speak, because everything is being kind of just like kicked up. All of the gunk, all of the stuff that we typically could kind of just ignore and just be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. We're starting to see maybe how much more of a big deal it is for us in these relationships. So people's relationships are changing, and because of that, because of this full moon and the impact that it has had on our relationships, it's going to be really important to be very aware of are we getting a fair deal in our relationships? Is there an equal exchange? Are we being taken for granted? Do we give maybe just a little bit too much sometimes? Or perhaps maybe we expect too much from our partner. And it doesn't necessarily have to be romantic relationships. This could be in business. This could be friendships. This could be any relationship. So a lot of what has to do right now in this next week, as far as being able to move forward, is going to be around this energetic exchange, and is going to be around successfully allowing the things to thaw out that need to thaw out, but being patient with it, and going and still yet having a little bit of that meditative kind of introspective energy, especially in regards to our relationships, and to whether or not they are just and fair and harmonious. And if they're not, allowing those things to be let go that need to be let go, so that new and better things can come, because summer's on its way, folks. So let's plant what it is that we want to plant, so that when it's time to harvest, we can have something that's worthwhile. So thank you so very much for tuning in this week to Rune Reading Wednesday. I always appreciate any comments, any questions, or anything in below. And I look forward to seeing you here again next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.